For me, life is just art. In the beginning, we are nothing, and going through the halls of trying to find out what we are, we finally come to a shining resemblance. And going through that lovely light, we somehow make one of the most beautiful things in the entire world. Everyone is special. Everyone is special.
Why do we have discrimination throughout our country? No, I mean, throughout our world. Why can't everyone be accepted for who they are?
When I was younger, I used to get bullied for being a brown girl. They would make fun of my nappy curly hair. They would even laugh because my eyes were brown and not blue. And for a long time, I would beg my mom to bleach my skin. I did. And you know what? She used to tell me that my skin was so beautiful. Before I could begin to walk, my mother would tell me that life would not be easy for me.
Well, some people don't think that. There may be some people who think that the same sex cannot love each other. Maybe some believe that African Americans are not civilized. Even though they were marching for their rights, they still face discrimination. Most of them had gotten themselves injured, while some of them had gotten themselves killed, just fighting for their rights. You know, I have friends who have a same-sex relationship. One of them lives in Seattle, and some live in Asheville. I have friends who are transgender. Most of them I know at school, while some of them I know out of school. I have friends who are African Americans. Whenever I'm with my friends who are different from me, I always hear some of their struggles on discrimination.
My great-grandfather was prejudiced, so you know how that goes. He wouldn't even take me and my family in when we were homeless. Oh, we even couldn't play around my white cousins when he was around. But the only cousin that didn't listen is gone now.
One of my friends almost committed suicide because their parents didn't accept them for being gay. My friend was bullied because of their race and because of their appearance. If people can accept me for being a crazy hyper fangirl, why can't they accept others for being a different race or the opposite gender?
I've always known I was gay, even since I was little. I mean, I didn't know what gay was per se, but I knew I was different. It was never a bad kind of different, though. It was more of a good different. March to your own drug kind of different. It's almost comical how optimistic I was about how people would feel about my queerness. I came out my freshman year. It was mostly uneventful. I mean, it's more of a, well, duh kind of reaction from the people that truly knew me, like my friends and family. The first few months were fine. Mostly calm period. But as the snow melted coming into my winter break, so did the stillness of what it truly meant to be queer. As soon as I got back from winter break, it's though everybody in the entire world got together in some secret meeting and decided that my queerness was somehow a threat. A lot of the football kids would harass me. It's the most alone I've ever felt in my entire life. But then there was him. With those pale, gray eyes. Such sadness, such pain, only masked with a confidence that I wish I had. I'd watch him walk down the hallways, like he owned the entire school. I couldn't help but fall in love with him. It started off slow. We'd talk every day or so in biology, and slowly it became something more. One day while my teacher was teaching and We were taking notes. His hand grazed over top mine. He left it there. Not for long, but long enough to know it was on purpose. We started hanging out after school, always somewhere private, but it was just the two of us. One day, we were laying outside the baseball field. He had a look in his eyes, a look no one has ever given me before. It was so full of warmth and love and understanding. He kissed me. He sat there. Well, we sat there in silence for what felt like an eternity. Until he got up and said that he had to go. We never talked again after that. The long stares that we would give each other in class turned into longing gazes. Even in the hallways, he wouldn't even acknowledge my existence. I think we both understood that even if somehow magically we could be together, be happy together, we wouldn't really be happy together. And that's what I learned through all of this. Through all the pain, the loneliness, the emptiness. That the only love I can truly give myself or anyone else is the love I have for myself.
Baby, I'm yours. Baby, I'm yours. And I'll be yours until the stars fall from the sky. Yours until the rivers are run dry. In other words, until I die. Baby, I'm yours. And I'll be yours.
What is love? The definition of love is an intense falling of deep affection. So why does love feel so different in this world today? What happened to the roaring 50s when you would take someone on a date and buy them dinner? Love isn't sex, love isn't nudes. So I asked this society.
Love is when you're ready and willing to spend the rest of your life with someone. It's this feeling that you can't get from anyone else. In a room full of people, they're the only person you see.
The definition of love, for me, is when you're deeply connected to someone. And I don't just mean physically, but emotionally, too. It's so much more than just liking someone.
My definition of love is the relationship between two people where both would do anything to watch each other succeed.
What is your definition of love?
Many people see cancer as just something that happens to poor children and someone's great relative with no way of surviving. Something that people don't comprehend as their friend having. But it happens. More times than not, whenever I tell someone I had cancer when I was 15 years old, they cry. Many say, "You went through a lot. It must be tough, but you're strong." But being strong tends to invalidate most struggles I will ever have to go through. Because apparently, if I beat cancer, then all of a sudden, living on Mars is just a walk in the park for me. And if I'm strong, then other people in the hospital are bodybuilders compared to me, and even they died from cancer. The survivor's guilt is unbearable. Sights and scents that are normal to everyone else will never be the same for me. There's so many aspects that people don't expect to ruin someone's life that are out of my control. I will always be living with the thought of it coming back, or worse, the fear of a loved one going through everything that I did. And that's happening to me right now. It's been almost 2 years since I was diagnosed, and I still remember the painful details that I wish I could forget.
There's a stigma to mental illness, that we're all broken in some way, shape, or form, or that we bring chaos to everyone we meet.
Depression and anxiety have always run in my family, so for me it was kind of inevitable. In 5th grade, it became clear that my mental health was declining since I started crying every night over a sad scene from Titanic, which then turned into me crying every night imagining different sad or scary situations. My dad was hitting his midlife crisis, so my family life, the one thing that had always been good, started to get kind of rocky. Things got hard for me to deal with and my grades started going down. I didn't know who I was anymore. My emotions shut down, so now I wasn't happy at all, but I didn't necessarily feel sad. My mind was just blank and I felt like a robot. Nothing seemed to matter.
Honestly, we're all the same, no matter what mental illness you may or may not have. I'm bipolar and I have really bad anxiety. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna get upset or sad that you talked to me in a certain tone or looked at me in a certain way. I'm not gonna get mad at the drop of a pen. I'm human. I'm not perfect. I'm just a little different, and different is beautiful.
It's unfair and unjust that a man gets to choose how a woman feels about her.
We get it from the beginning. The comments about our bodies. The TV shows us how to lose weight fast. Our mom says, no thank you, I'm cutting down on carbs and a little overweight. We're self-conscious from birth, but it only gets worse. No one is happy with the way they look. They're either on some fad diet, some new workout plan, some new lifestyle. No one is just content. When I complain about not being small, they don't say, I wish I looked like you, or you look amazing. They say, it could be worse. You look healthy. Is that supposed to make me feel better? You start to try the fad diets, and it starts with just intermittent fasting and not eating breakfast, and then it goes to lunch. You start to become proud of yourself when you don't get hungry after not eating the first 2 meals of the day. Then all 3. People start to notice. They say, what's your secret? What's your diet? What's your workout plan? The comments continue, but they change. Instead, when you complain about being fat, now they say, I wish I looked like you. You look amazing. It feels great. You keep going. Your ribs start to show, and your clothes no longer fit. You start to forget the last time a meal consisted of more than 5 almonds. You get lightheaded a lot throughout the day. But it's worth it, right? It's worth it to be smaller. People start to notice. The comments change. Now they say you're too skinny. They all say you look anorexic. Your parents notice and they try to get you to eat, but you can't. You wake up to bright lights and doctors all around you and so many people. They say you're being unhealthy, that you're starving yourself, but you insist you're fine. Fine.
A man shouldn't have to control how a woman feels.
Fine.
A woman should be her own person, and she should make her own choices.
How do I feel right now? Good and angry. Angry because I'm exhausted of being looked at as differently or less than because I'm a woman. I'm angry because I can't walk downtown alone without being catcalled. I can't go on a run without looking back every few seconds to be sure I'm not being followed. I'm angry because I'm told I'm good at things for a girl.
Recently, RBG, a woman who fought for women's rights, has sadly passed away. It's scary to think that there are some men in this world who think that women should not have rights. RBG was a woman who fought for those rights on the Supreme Court.
And women, especially teenage women, shouldn't have to worry that every time they go outside their house, they'll be attacked.
AOC addressing Yoho is the first time I've heard any of these struggles addressed on such a wide political platform. I mean, until then, it hadn't even occurred to me that they hadn't, because these struggles are just ignored.
It's scary to think that one man wants to ban something some women need. It does not mean women will stop doing it. It just means women will be doing it in a very unsafe way, possibly harming themselves.
People say, well, women just need to work harder to get paid equal. And, well, they have the same rights, so they're equal. Bullshit.
The world is filled with injustice, and the people in power aren't taking the necessary steps to fix those issues.
I am tired. That was the first time I've ever felt recognized on such a wide platform. And I feel like I should be happy, excited, and hopeful. And I am. But I've also been patient and quiet for too long. Now I'm mad, and I am going to have my voice heard.
Bullet went through his head right from his hand, and my world shattered. The only cousin who cared was gone. I began right after that. Yeah. I started putting my problems on a paper instead of my head. I'm a soldier. I've experienced life early, so when I write, I make for sure you feel me. Because I'm a walking angel. When you look at me, you see a goofy girl who has style, who loves to make people laugh. But if you dig a little deeper, you can see that life hasn't always been easy for me. Because of my skin, my two families have separated and never loved each other since. So being mixed isn't a gift, because there's always gray areas ahead.
Are you a Republican, Democrat, or an independent? What political party are you? Who are you going to vote for? I feel like as a country, we get asked this question far too often.
Do you have an opinion? Good, good. Is it the right opinion?
And with that in mind, I have a couple questions. Why have political parties? Why announce your political parties even if you know it's just going to start a conflict? And what does associating yourself with a political party truly do?
In this generation, when the topic of religion comes up, it can be very tense, especially when it comes to Christianity. The thing that needs to be addressed is directed towards the people that have been and are still being hurt by the church. The thing that people don't really realize is the fact that when someone hears the word Christianity, they might immediately associate it with something negative, possibly because at one point in their life they're exposed to someone who claimed to be Christian but overall misrepresented God's love, hardening their hearts towards Christ. It physically hurts to think of the thought of someone who's ultimately getting pushed farther away from Christ. And for the disciples of Christ, know that there is a great way to spread the gospel with truth and love while not compromising it. We live in such a dark world full of hatred, and it is broken, and we can see this with the people who are overcome by evil. But as true Christians, we are supposed to rise up and overcome evil with good. Also know that there is an equal balance that needs to be held between the gospel with the truth and equal love, because one without the other can simply be very damaging. And just know that if we get laughed or mocked or made fun of, it's okay, because what would Jesus do? He would love first.
I'm 17 years old, a big sister to two girls, and life for me is very, very, very difficult. I'm a mixed child with black and white. The reason why I say that life for me is difficult is because society makes me choose who I have to be. When it comes to picking my ethnicity, my friend groups, my family. Now, when it comes to my friend groups, that gets difficult. If I wear a weave or I put braids in my hair, I'm trying to be black. Or if I curl my hair, straighten it, I'm trying to be white. Oh, or if I hang out with my black friends, my white friends think I'm ghetto. If I hang out with my white friends, my black friends think I'm stuck up. Why is the world like this?
Climate change is a topic I take very seriously. While there are some people who don't even think it's real, they think it's a hoax. Climate change is very real. It's caused by man-made resources. If we are the ones causing it, then we can definitely be the ones to help fix it. And if we don't do something about it now, the outcome will be irreversible. I hate to say this and end it this way, but I'm only 17 and I'm already scared for my future.
Sexual abuse is sexual behavior or sexual act forced upon a woman, man, or child without their consent. It was recently when I had realized I had been assaulted. The feeling of worthlessness and sadness rushed through my body. People want attention and love. Is that why he did what he did? It's really sad to me that people can get away with taking advantage of other people. So many things are wrong with this world, but the fact that people can get sexually assaulted, killed, abused, and so much more, and the people doing these things get off without consequences is absurd to me, and it needs to end. I was really excited for all the new friends I would make from different elementary schools, but suddenly my quirky and random sense of humor was just weird. Maybe it was all in my head, but it seemed like some of the other girls got to act like that without consequence. The difference was that they were pretty. What really hurt was the fact that some of the people I considered my best friends just a few months before were starting to become really good friends with the girls who didn't like me. I just wanted to get out. I thought about switching schools. I asked if we could move back to Florida where I was born. I never seriously considered it, but I can't say it didn't cross my mind that I could end it all if I wanted to.
I say things over and over again in my head, trying to build up the courage to say them out loud, making sure I'm communicating exactly what I want to. Because how many chances do you get to say exactly what you feel? Mess it up and you won't get a redo. To my mother, I think I need real help. To my dear friend, the nightmares are becoming unbearable. And to the boy that broke my heart months ago, do you know how much you hurt me? But when the time comes, I can never do it. The people in my life would be glad to listen, glad to help, then why can't I say what I feel? Why do I smile and laugh and make a lighthearted conversation over my fears and anxieties which are drowning me from the inside out? I mean, look at the news. Racism, homophobia, unseen justice, lack of rights for women, mental illness. There is so much to say. In a generation that has access to almost any means of communication, why are we silent? We fear of judgment, of authority, of personal conflict. But who are we if we don't speak our voices, make ourselves heard, if not for ourselves, then others? We need to light a fire for those that don't have a lighter. And we are the spark, us, our story, our voices. We are the spark.